offense has involved. How do I say that? Turnabout, Your Honor. The Pixie of the El Figuero. Right, his trial. Court is in session. Defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is A-OK, Judge. Very well. Prosecutor Gavin. My ultimate statements, y'all. No. Actually, there was something else I wanted to ask you. Yes? Say you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them? I mean, you wouldn't say get well soon, right? You'll only be kicking them when they're down. What are you talking about? Actually, I'm going to visit someone who is terminally ill. Right after this trial, the Chief Justice's son. Chief Justice? His son is affected with a most terrible disease. He doesn't have long, it seems. So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day. I don't want them to say what's on their mind instead of pretending. She's looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement, briefly. You're in luck, Judge. I believe you'll be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think. First, to review the victim in this case. Romian Lechu, age 35. The global manager for Diva Songstress Lamila. The cause of death, blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details. The court accepts this into evidence. 45 caliber? That's quite large, isn't it? I think that could knock a man off his feet. However, the bullet struck him in his shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved. I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering. 2 shots were fired. One shot missed, the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullet hit. I see. The court accepts this evidence. We're talking about a 45 caliber revolver. We must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use. Really? Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tries to fire one, it would break every bone in his body. The defense will check more care in choosing examples. As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. This dressing room has only one entrance. This door. Doesn't seem to be the case, yes. However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshots. Let's talk about you and Emma, huh? Yet, when the witness entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course. But that's impossible! Exactly. This model was impossible. For all but one person. One person? It is, of course, the defendant, Matsutabai. Only this defendant could have committed the crime? But how? It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear. Very well. I assume you have testimony to back up this claim. Please, show the witness to the stand. Your name and profession, please? I'm a Sky. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert forum that night. Emma seems tired, somehow. This security at the concert, you say? Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a martyr. Now, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know. I'm sure that makes her feel much better. I want to hear about these bigger mistakes. In any case, because you learned security detail that night, the crime was quickly discovered, and we were able to identify the killer. You may give the court your testimony if you like. Describe the circumstances of the day and your discovery of the crime, please. Alright. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved in the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it. It was lucky that a detective was the first on the scene. But that door was the only way out of the room, right? Yeah, pretty much. Then I don't get it. How can they say that Machi did it? Looks like we need a bit more information. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. The night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes? That's right. What was the detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert. My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods. Prosecutor Gavin! Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say. The stench of conspiracy. That day, at the concert hall. Conspiracy? Well, isn't it obvious? My keys! That whole morning, no. The whole day was ruined. It's all because someone stole my keys. I can't ride my hog to the show. I couldn't open my guitar case. There he goes again. Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just wander into a murder of victims' hands on their own. What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if the keys were in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect. Love, slow acting anew, Etchquint is waiting for you. He's singing something. Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top? The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor adrift on a sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task. I see, I can accept that. Well, I can't. What do you mean, time on their hands? It's the testimony. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. Hold it! You were let in, though. I didn't know about that. I certainly didn't invite you. I gave the Fruit special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again. Oh boy, did you hear that? We're officially involved now. Gee, wait. Some other hangers-on tried to get backstage, but I drove them off. So no other outsiders were there then. And then, at the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. Hold it! I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots. We were the one chatting. Housing snackoos. Ah, hey! No snacking in court. You're sure the shots came from the Mueller's room? Yes, absolutely. Hey! I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this will keep you quiet. Thanks! So, how about it, Emma? You were right. There. Hard to be mistaken about that. Please, either talk or eat. Not both at the same time. Right, so after that, me and Mr. Loyal there opened the dressing room door. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. Rock? Blaring, yes. When you say rock, are you from perhaps? To this rock and roll music that's so popular these days. That's right. We went to that dressing room. Music was blaring over the speaker on the wall. It piped sound from the stage into the backstage room speakers. There were people in the back can hear what they're supposed to be on stage. It has to be so loud. You don't listen to the gravel news with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. Ours have the backstage monitors at full volume. We walked in that room. The band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the time of the crime. You could hear that music play. Everyone on stage for that song had as an alibi, including myself. Anyway, I closed off the scene and stopped my investigation. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it. How could you know something like that? As I said, it's clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know there was only one exit from the room. That door. The small window only opened a tiny crack. I was standing in front of that door. So how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility. The air vent. Oh. Objection! But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly... Exactly. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child. A child? Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved at the concert were allowed. All the people involved at the concert, only one is smart enough to be considered a child. The defendant. Pixie and the Alfredo flitted up towards the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. Objection! But that's just conjecture. There was no other way out of the room. You were there. You should know it was go ahead. And there's another vital piece of evidence. Evidence? What? Also found on the air vent grill. Space that had recently been opened. Wait, what? And something else was found quite clearly. The defendant Marty Chabai's fingerprints. What? Order, order. That elevator was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, Elfahead, what fairy tale does this suggest to you? Only one could pass through that vent that's the doorway to heaven. That one is El Pixie. Are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it up in the audience. So this was his decisive evidence? Quite decisive indeed. I believe that's enough of that. The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive. I believe we've heard enough to determine our verdict, even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit. So the Chief Justice will proceed to gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witness. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. That will have to be enough. It can't be over already. Very well. I believe this trial is finished. If the defense has no contradiction evidence, the prosecution has presented our proof clear and plain. If you have contradicting evidence, I'd better be clear and plain. Apollo! They've got us on the ropes already! You better come up with something quick! I know! Think what can get us out of this? The evidence or witness that can prove Monty's innocent beyond a doubt. Not that. Mr. Justice, do you have contradicting proof that we can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you better tell us about it now. This is it. It's too soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over. Court wants contradicting proof? Prosecutor Gavin, you claim that there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely. That's on my career as a prosecutor. And then my million-seller hit song, It's So Clearly of My Love. There he goes again. That's too bad, because there was a witness. Oh, really now? But how did they come to possess knowledge the prosecution clearly does not? Because I'm the only one in the world who knows this. What's going on? I just talked to him and now... He's alive. Mr. LaCharles, can you hear me? You're cold? Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Hope is on the way. And then, Mr. LaCharles, tell me, who is the witness? What? The victim said this before he died? Perhaps he did, or perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is what Klavier had said he said. It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. Objection! But it's the truth! He said it! I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely. My policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours is unknown to the prosecution. I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty. Perhaps a stiffer penalty than user is called for? There's no backing out now. Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice. Take that! Lemire. We'll call Mr. Justice's last words. Witness is... he meant the siren. That's right, the siren of the ballad, Lemire. Lemire was only on stage for the second set, as he had access to the backstage area. He could have been a witness. I see. Prosecutor Gavin. Then, the claim still stands. The original witness to the crime. Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We will now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show Lemire to the witness stand. Lemire would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today we'll drag that story out of her no matter what it is. It is my distinct honor to welcome the Salon of the Ballad to our courtroom. You are too kind. You can speak English. Yes, I can. Though I'm not very good, there's much I do not know. You speak so well. Have you spent time here before? Actually, I do not know how I came by my knowledge of your language. No, I studied it. What does she mean? She doesn't know. I too thought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course. What's that? Lemire suffers from amnesia. Amnesia? Lemire is not my true name. Nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. Oh, it's even more mysterious than I thought. As not a single Lemire, she lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her thanks to her success. Yet, not to subject her to unnecessary stress. I see. I care surprisingly little about people's pasts. You have nothing to fear in this court anymore. Thank you. There's something I do not understand. I'm being called as a witness. What might I say? Will you tell me anything of what happened? Lemire, let me be frank. I do not want to ask you up here to testify. Yet, that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant that you stand. Oh my. Congratulations, Apollo. You're the bad guy. Now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw the night of the crime. I saw nothing. That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I never turned backstage after the second act. And I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. After I found that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details. I must say, you sound wonderful just testifying. I hope you will see the secretary what he was actually saying. There you have it. She saw nothing that night. And we can only pray that the defense has the sense to admit defeat and refrain from detaining her here longer than need be. Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go. Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet. You want to talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what. I saw nothing. That night I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set.
Objection!
I'm sorry, Lemire, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not? Why, that's Lemire's. She was wearing it for her song. Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin? What? This brooch was found after the murder took place. At the very scene of the crime. What? Lemire, how did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And as Prosecutor Gavin has just told us, You had been wearing it during your performance that night. What is the meaning of this? Lamilla, please explain. Lamilla. This English is quite difficult. That trick's not going to work here. Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer truly. But you have missed an important fact. What now? In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment. What? Think back to the moment of this crime. You know the world I see what he's saying, all that? What's he talking about, Apollo? Right when the incident occurred. Ah! Is he talking about that? Boss this room for me. I have to call for backup. Right. Understood. A moment to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latrouse, can you hear me? Cold? Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Hope is on the way. Simon, could Simon witness anything? Yep. Emma, who's that? Who's there? What's wrong? Emma, did you see anyone just now? Huh? No. That's when I heard a door close. I looked into the room. It's a glance, mind you. This was when your boots dropped? It explains that? Guys, there's no other time I could have dropped it. That's ridiculous. You only looked for an instant, but you dropped your boots? Oh, go ahead. He has raised the possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence. As he looked in at the quiet scene. Huxley, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. The moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice. You heard something who's there, no doubt. A horrible voice indeed. Immediately. Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony. It's too convenient. She's hiding something. Lamilla, you did look into the room, though, right? Yes. Testify as to what you saw. Very well. It was only the briefest of glimpses. When my performance was finished, I went backstage for just a moment. I said nothing. Yet Mr. Latrus's body was behind our wall.
Gotcha!
Mr. Latrus's body, you say? Yes. You know something more about Mr. Latrus's death than you were saying. What? I can see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes. It's true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latrus have to be shot? One moment, Lamilla. Yes? What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latrus have to be shot? Yes. She was hiding something. I knew it. Lamilla, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradict your testimony. Huh? How could that be? Take this! You'll contradict your own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it.
Tell me, Lemira, how did you know that he had been shot? Well, immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court, no one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. That you knew that Mr. Detroit had been shot. How could you have known? Ah! Amira! Hiding something from the court, I hope. Something a little too sweet. Remember, please, allow me to add to my testimony. Of course, all we want to know is the truth. She looks kind of pale, huh? She saw something. I know it. Even the victim said so. In the war, I knew Mr. Detroit had been shot.
Objection!
Lemira, they call you the Simon of the Battered. But lies are hardly becoming of such a creature. Put down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice. Pretense are hardly becoming of you, Apollo. Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, y'all. Come on, can I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. No, you looked in from the door just for a moment. Correct? Yes, that is so. There were bullet holes in the room, yes? If they were in the wall, the door is on. See? Assuming you were merely glancing into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes. Ah! Lemira. Yes. I'm afraid the facts has raised a good point. It appears you have been holding back something. I must tell you what it is that I saw. Yes. The happenings in this trial recorded, and I'm certain it will be on the news in Bulgaria. You understand your reputation is at stake, of course, to you to more Thompson. Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing. As he knew about Miss Latrosse, Miss Latrosse had died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, Lemira. Please continue your testimony. Very well, I shall. I was on my way from the stage to backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. It wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was. So you did witness the crime. And the killer was a grown person, you say? This is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play, little forehead. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin your cross-examination. Great going, Apollo. You were right about Lemira. What's wrong? You don't look too happy. This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. From the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. It wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was.
Hold it!
grown person? That's a little vague. I'm sorry. My skills of her language is lacking, I know. Let me see whether the shoe is male or female. It's a man, a young man. You saw that. Yes, his voice was quite clear. Voice? This diagram, it seemed like this room was quite cluttered. It seemed likely that you would have had a clear view of the shooter. The singer, all I know my ears and my eyes. I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man. So you heard the voice? It's right. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latrice? Absolutely not. Then I decided to not forget a voice. It was the truth who spoke, I would have known. Indeed. So you were at the window and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man. Hello, this is a good testimony. It proves it wasn't Machi. Indeed. This turns out to be true. We cast this case in a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony? So it pays me to say this. There's something about Lemieux's testimony that rings false. Bravo, little forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man could pass through that air vent. He couldn't have fled the scene of the crime. But that means Lemieux has to be lying. I know, and I know it's bad for our case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. It is as Ilforehead says. Yet, this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. What next? What's he talking about? Lemieux, I understand why you don't want to protect Machi. Remember, you are the siren of the ballad. The lies that become such a creature. What does the prosecution mean? Hello, what's he talking about? No one bats an eye when he says stuff like that. I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. The state of the realm. Murder took place. The window was closed. I had to believe you could hear a voice through it. But I'm sure. Lemieux, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. If my opinion of you as a witness is what the lesser. Objection! But he's the only eyewitness we have.
Objection!
So you say. And the victim named her is silent as the witness. That's right. That's what Mr. Charles heard your claim. We even understand the possibility and it brought us to this. Little judge. Yes. Prosecution requires that the witness be excused. Please. I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. It is indeed the question to the witness's credibility. But if Lemieux can't testify, we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocence. This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue making your case. Danke. Now, where were we? Ah, yes. I'd like to hear from full-on detective again.
Objection!
Wait, let me hear Lemieux's testimony one last time. The cross-examination is already over. Until such a time as a need arises, this witness may leave the stand. Sorry I couldn't be of more assistance. At let's back to the real trial. Ready in forehead? I hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Hold on, detective. How far have we gotten until we are so rudely interrupted? Don't ask me. It's like saying the same thing twice. And I never will repeat the song for an encore. If you would, Miss Guy. I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Trust's killer could have escaped was through the air vent on the ceiling. Yes, there was only one door in the room. No witness, you were standing in front of it. The air vent isn't very big, see? I have limits to people who could possibly get through. I certainly would have a difficult time. You sure would. Not that you would have been there in the first place now. Remember, the whole backstage area was often used to people not involved with the concert. Anyone who meets a conditioned killer is a defendant. Which was her performance? I couldn't have put it better myself. She did state a clear case. Though, reading the report, something caught my eye. Oh, what's that? The circumstances of the defendant's arrest. Circumstances? Again? Hey, it's what, Apollo? Remember when we found Moxie? That was bizarre. She's right. Why did Mr. Latrus's body disappear from the room? It ended up on top of that stage tower. Holding a guitar, no less. Perceptive observation, no judge. Thanks, it was kind of an accident, Will. You work in this job long enough. Get a nose for things. Judge so seems pleased with himself. Very good for a detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer?